You cannot push aside your greatest assets, sideline them.
No, you don't. You don't have any opportunity. You have one opportunity. And her first initial is C and her second initial is C.
This isn't just bad PR. This is a full-blown masterclass in self-sabotage, and frankly, it's just plain embarrassing.
Is Indiana Fever leadership, the president, talking about trying to build the Fever brand?
My sources are spilling that the Fever leadership, from the very top, has completely misread the room when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Like, this is embarrassing.
That shit should have never came out of her mouth in public.
They want to use Caitlin Clark fan base to uplift their franchise as a whole.
They thought they could use her, control her, and then sideline her, but trust me, that plan is blowing up in their faces in real time. They're in full-blown panic mode behind the scenes, scrambling to fix a mess they entirely created.
They don't mess up this Caitlin Clark situation, they will become the most valuable team in this country.
It's like the only organization that doesn't want to build around Caitlin Clark is the organization she's currently at. Opportunity. You have one opportunity. And her first initial is C and her second initial is C.
I'm talking about a franchise that genuinely believes they can play chess with Caitlin Clark's career, but right now, all their pieces are crashing off the board, and the backlash is brutal. This isn't just bad strategy, it's a monumental miscalculation that's got fans in an absolute fury.
But it is Indiana Fever leadership, the president, talking about trying to build the Fever brand.
The tea is piping hot. The only organization that doesn't seem to want to build around Caitlin Clark is the very team she's playing for. This is a story about opportunity, obsession, and how one franchise is about to throw away everything by refusing to understand the cultural phenomenon they have.
You could replace Caitlin Clark with the second biggest star in the WNBA, which is Angel Reese, and your viewership would tank by 70%.
Get ready, because we're about to expose how the Indiana Fever are on the verge of becoming the biggest cautionary tale in WNBA history.
The value is as high as it is ever, and it's nothing to do with what you've done, Kelly. You literally you took over and the team got worse. They got worse.
Before this whole disaster exploded, the alarm bells were ringing loud and clear, but the Fever leadership apparently had their fingers in their ears. This entire mess started at the top, specifically with Fever president Kelly Koskoff. She dropped a now infamous line comparing the Indiana Fever to Apple Incorporated seriously.
You know, like Apple or something. I mean, we have a real opportunity here.
She said she wanted to build this enduring brand, a powerhouse like Apple. And honestly, that one quote told us everything we needed to know about their clueless strategy. It's painfully obvious the front office isn't focused on basketball wins, they're obsessed with marketing and brand building. They're trying to own the moment instead of actually earning it on the court. And when your absolute best player is literally the sole reason anyone even knows your team exists, that's not just tone deaf, that's franchise suicide. The value of this team right now? It's as high as it's ever been, and let me tell you, that has nothing to do with what Kelly has done. In fact, since she took over, the team has only gotten worse. They actually got worse. This isn't just bad business, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the very foundation they're standing on.
The fandom is in pure crash out mode. Somebody exposed something out there.
The fans has pretty much went on a tear, down on a tear with dismantling the team front office, man. They're putting everything on the blame of the front office.
So, picture this, you're watching what's supposed to be a fun, lighthearted all-star draft, the kind where everyone's just laughing, picking their dream teams, and maybe throwing a little playful banter. And then, completely out of nowhere, Caitlin Clark drops a bombshell that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. With an ice-cold demeanor, she straight up declared a trade, orchestrating the swap of Cheryl Reeve for Sandy Brondello. Just like that, Clark became the first player in WNBA history to ever pull off a coach exchange in an all-star format. The sheer audacity of it? Chef's kiss, truly. But here's where it gets absolutely juicy, and where the cameras caught the real drama. The moment the news broke, all eyes darted to Sabrina Ionescu. And her reaction? It was everything. When she found out she'd be surprisingly reunited with her New York Liberty coach, Sandy Brondello, on Team Clark, her response was pure, unadulterated gold. A knowing smirk, a subtle lean in, and that perfectly delivered line, "You can't escape me." You could practically feel the collective gasp ripple through the room and across every screen watching live. That was the moment this playful draft turned into an instant viral sensation. And Caitlin? She just looked directly into the camera, a picture of unmatched confidence, and delivered the ultimate mic drop line.
Sorry WNBA if that's not in the rule. Sorry ESPN if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. So Sandy Brondello, come on over.
The sass was off the charts. The casual way she completely restructured an entire all-star format on live television, rewriting the playbook in real time? That, my friends, is main character energy right there. This wasn't just a trade, it was a power play, a moment of raw, unfiltered player agency that etched itself into WNBA history.
This team could blow a massive opportunity. I said yesterday I think Indiana is the best place for because it's a Midwest team.
every single good thing that has happened to your organization is because of number 22 from Iowa.
Now, let's peel back the layers and get into the real tea of what's happening behind the scenes at the Fever. This isn't just about bad coaching or poor strategy, it feels deeply personal. The Fever leadership doesn't just want to win games, they want the credit for Caitlin Clark's monumental success without actually letting her shine in her full capacity. They want the Caitlin Clark effect without giving her the ball, and trust me, it's backfiring spectacularly.
You can't put cuffs on them as players. You certainly can't do that. You're going to create animosity, resentment towards the franchise because, I mean, if they'd have tried this with Jordan back in the day, holy hell.
There are whispers of a misguided quest for control within that organization. They're trying to force Clark into some sort of cookie-cutter team vision where the spotlight is shared and the focus is on building a brand instead of simply letting their superstar cook. But here's the harsh truth: you don't build a dynasty by dimming your brightest star. You let her lead, or you watch everything crumble. They even tried to tame the Caitlin Clark phenomenon, to bottle that electrifying energy into a neat little marketing gimmick. What they didn't count on was the sheer gravity of her presence.
I'm telling you right now, they is damn near boycotting to stop watching the Indiana Fever basketball team. But not just quit watching, they're talking about stop buying merch. They're talking about really hitting them where it hurt.
She's not just selling tickets, she's selling a movement, and the Fever completely misjudged that power. The word on the street is that this approach is creating real animosity and resentment within the franchise. It's like they're trying to put cuffs on their most dynamic player, and you just can't do that. Imagine trying to sideline a Michael Jordan in his prime. By actively minimizing Clark's influence, they're alienating the very fans who were ready to rally behind her. This isn't just bad basketball, it's a profound misunderstanding of their own asset, and the T is, they want all the glory without giving her the reins. And what happens when a franchise tries to dim the brightest star and play mind games with its biggest asset? The fans erupt.
But this is very much sticking out, bro. The fans has definitely been keeping receipts on everything that has transpired between the front office and Caitlin Clark.
I'm telling you right now, the WNBA fandom is in a full-blown revolt against the Indiana Fever front office, and they are absolutely not holding back. This isn't just about tweeting, "do better" anymore. We're talking about fans boycotting games, straight up refusing to buy merchandise, and blasting the front office with surgical precision, hitting them exactly where it hurts. The fans aren't just angry, they're organized. They're using the internet like a weapon, filming huddles, posting screenshots, and meticulously calling out every single misstep like it's a court case.
I'm sorry if you're under the belief that you think all these players were so great before they got here. That may be fine, but nobody cared, nobody watched.
This isn't just a few disgruntled individuals, it's a full-on, organized rebellion against what they see as a gross injustice. As one insider put it, the fans have definitely been keeping receipts on everything that has transpired between the front office and Caitlin Clark. And let me tell you, those receipts are mounting by the day. You've got fans flooding social media with clips, with timelines, with irrefutable before and after stats. 1 minute, Clark is running the show, the team is surging, and the offense is humming. The next, she's sidelined off ball, lost in the shuffle, and the entire offense collapses into chaos. The evidence is overwhelming, and the conclusion is crystal clear: you do not build a franchise by disrespecting your foundation.
One thing I can tell you is they're going to have a rude awakening very, very soon.
She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out loud. She's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, she's in a 3-game shooting downturn.
Now, there was a record-breaking number of fans who voted this year for All-Star, so that was really cool to see.
Because here's the truth the Fever clearly didn't understand: Caitlin Clark's fanbase isn't just big, it's loyal, passionate, and absolutely everywhere. They followed her from Iowa, they've sold out road games, and they've transformed meaningless WNBA matchups into must-watch primetime events. The Fever didn't just misread the room, they tried to evict the very person who built the house. What they're getting now is the full force of a fan base that feels betrayed, and they are making it known that this backlash is only just beginning. Now, let's strip away the emotions, the fan fury, and the front office's misguided brand-building nonsense, and talk about the cold, hard numbers. Because when it comes to the Indiana Fever's actions and Caitlin Clark's impact, the data doesn't lie. And the moment this franchise tried to minimize Caitlin Clark's undeniable influence, those numbers smacked them right in the face.
Trade Caitlin Clark.
Here's the undeniable, brutal truth: Caitlin Clark is the WNBA viewership spike. Period. Point blank. No discussion. When she plays, we're talking about record-breaking ratings, unprecedented national attention. When she sits, it's crickets. You pull her out of the equation, and it's like someone yanked the plug on national interest. Before Clark showed up, let's be real, nobody gave a damn. Regular season WNBA games were barely cracking 6 figures in viewership. Now, with Clark, games are pulling in millions. Non-Clark games? They're back to the low hundreds of thousands if they're lucky. The success of the season is not because of the front office, it's because of her. And if you still doubt the scale of her impact, consider this: bold predictions from experts state that if you were to replace Caitlin Clark with Angel Reese, your viewership would drop by 70%. That's not an insult, it's just raw, brutal reality. Even if you brought in a major college star like Paige Buchers, you'd still be down a staggering 60%. The message is unambiguous: there is no replacement for Caitlin Clark. The fans are right to be furious. Every single good thing that has happened to that Indiana Fever organization, the sold-out games, the massive TV deals, the corporate sponsors suddenly pretending they've cared about women's basketball all along, it all comes down to number 22 from Iowa. The numbers on the tightrope are already starting to wobble, the WNBA's newfound balance is shaking, and the Fever are out there pretending they're just fine, juggling chainsaws. They're guilty of trying to suppress their own star, of treating the fans like they're clueless, and of forgetting the single most important rule in sports: you don't win by silencing greatness. You win by letting it lead. And if they keep this up, the fans are going to make sure the Indiana Fever are remembered not for building an Apple, but for throwing away their golden iPhone and trying to replace it with a brick. So, what does this catastrophic mismanagement, this blatant sidelining of their superstar, truly mean for the Indiana Fever's future? It means the end of the Indiana Fever as we know it might be coming, and frankly, it's looking more and more inevitable by the day. This isn't just about a team struggling on the court, this is about a franchise actively committing self-sabotage on a scale we rarely see in professional sports. Think about the stakes: what happens if Caitlin Clark, fed up with being suffocated, decides to leave? Simple. The Indiana Fever's entire WNBA presence dies overnight. This isn't a rebuild, it's not a retool, this would be a funeral. No more sold-out arenas. No more national coverage. No more TikToks blowing up every night. This franchise would go from America's team to a 4,000-seat ghost town that nobody wants to play for, nobody wants to watch, and nobody remembers outside of Indiana. And let's be clear, not even the Pacers, winning another NBA title, could save them. That cultural momentum, that electrifying buzz? That comes solely from Caitlin Clark. This is the final warning, the last red flag being waved frantically. The Fever still have a fleeting chance to get it right, but that window is closing fast. The fans have already told them what they want. The media has amplified it. The numbers have proven it. The only question left is, will pride drive this team completely off a cliff, or will they finally listen? Because right now, the damage is real. We're watching a franchise in flames, a fanbase in full revolt, and a superstar being actively stifled. The Fever thought they could control the narrative, but now the narrative is eating them alive. They thought they could build a balanced team without giving the ball to the most dynamic player women's basketball has seen in decades. But now, they're living in the brutal backlash. It's not too late for them, but one more post-game lie, one more misguided motion scheme, one more ignored pick and roll could mean losing everything. So let this be the clear, unequivocal call to the Indiana Fever: let Caitlin cook. Or prepare for the absolute end of your franchise as you know it. If you're as fed up with this situation as we are, make sure to like this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more unfiltered updates on the WNBA's biggest stories and all the tea you won't hear anywhere else.